What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a pretty debated topic, I think, in the running community, and that is whether you should run more mileage or whether you should run more intensely. Meaning, you run more miles with slightly lower intensity, or you run less miles with higher intensity. And this is a very, very debated topic in the running community. A lot of people seem to have some very, very strong opinions on this topic. So today I'm just going to be breaking it down a little bit. I'm not going to say ultimately that either one is better than the other, because the truth is I don't think either one is better than the other. I think they are both fantastic. I think there are both times to try out higher mileage, and I think there's also times to try out lower mileage with some more intensity. So if you're looking for the answer, which one is better, more miles or more intensity, you're not going to find that one here. But what I'm going to say, what I'm going to talk about in this video is where you might look to prioritize mileage in certain times in your training, or when you might tend to try and prioritize speed in certain parts of your training and life and running journey in general. So I'm just going to be talking about both of them. I'll be talking about some benefits of both and also some drawbacks, because they each have their pros and cons, and they are each very, very beneficial for getting runners to become better. Hence why it's such a highly debated topic. So first of all, I want to talk about mileage. Mileage for me it's really been my priority. For lack of a better reason, I just don't really have one. I've always just kind of leaned towards more mileage versus more intensity, and I think the truth is that just is because I love running, and I would rather run more every day than, run less and slightly faster, I guess. So that's kind of been why I've always kind of leaned toward more mileage. Again, it's not because I don't think, more intensity isn't good. In fact, I am actually looking forward to switching up my training methodologies a little bit after this marathon, coming up to more of a intensity focused, lower mileage, just because I'm kind of craving something new, right? I've been running high mileage for quite some time now, so I'm looking to just spice things up, change up the workouts a little bit, and see how much fitness I can gain. But enough about me, enough about my running journey. I just want to talk about mileage in general. So what is mileage good at? It builds your aerobic base. It builds you a fantastic aerobic base. Very, very good. Obviously, for longer races, if you're training for a marathon, chances are you're going to want slightly higher mileage than you might be used to. Again, take that with a grain of salt. That doesn't mean don't run any fast runs at all, but typically, for longer runs where it's much more aerobic, for longer races where it's much more aerobic, you're going to probably lean towards more mileage, just because of the immense aerobic benefits that you can gain from just running more often. And also it improves your tendon and your bone durability, because your body is going to have to learn to adapt to running all these miles. That's just how it works. If you're going to be putting these demands on your body every single day, your body's going to have to work to be able to withstand all those miles. And what that means is your tendons, your bones, they're just going to get stronger because of the demands that you're putting on it all the time. It's going to have to learn to rebuild themselves and make sure they're able to go for the next day of running. And also, what it does, it improves your running economy, because you're just running so much. The more you run, the more efficient your stride, the more efficient your economy is going to get, simply because you're just practicing that more. If you are looking to improve your soccer kick, the best way of doing that is ultimately to just practice kicking soccer balls more frequently. And the same applies to running. You're just going to have to practice that running technique more. And if you're running high mileage, chances are you're going to be running a lot. That's going to give you as much practice as you need to improve your running economy. Now also, running high mileage, there is a lower injury risk per session, but the injury risk does compound over time, right? So because our sessions for high mileage are typically less intense, you're not going to put as much of a demand on your body as if you were running very, very quickly. However, over time, and this is the big issue that a lot of marathon runners deal with, is over time, when you are constantly running super high mileage, it does start to compound on you, and you do start to, slowly feel that, maybe your body is breaking down just because of the compounding effect of all of these mileage. So you have to be smart. You have to be smart with this. Now, what are some of the drawbacks of higher mileage? Well, you have to take a long time to see the results. It takes months to pay off, and it's really easy to kind of overdo the volume without enough recovery, I see. So who would benefit more from high mileage opposed to more intensity? Well, I think if you're newer to running, higher mileage is probably going to be the best bang for your buck. And also, if you're coming back from injury, I think prioritizing mileage over intensity is a much safer way of building fitness. And if you're looking to just build that aerobic base, you're going to want to prioritize mileage. Now, on the flip side of things, what about intensity? What does intensity bring to the table? Well, more adaptations, improves your lactate threshold and your VO2 max directly. So if you're looking to race some shorter races, maybe some 5Ks, some 10Ks, even all the way down to mile or whatever, you're going to want to look to run faster, obviously, because if you're running an all-out 5K, chances are you're going to be running pretty fast. And the only way to know what it feels like to run a fast 5K is to run fast in training. So you have to run faster. And what intensity is great at is, like I said, improves that lactate threshold. That's a crucial metric a lot of runners use as a very nice guide on a lot of their runs. And also your VO2 max, your ability to take in oxygen, crucial. And when you're running more mileage, when you're running more intensely, you're going to benefit greatly from seeing all these metrics improve because you are prioritizing intensity. And also, another big thing for a lot of people, I think, who are busy people, maybe you're a student, maybe you're working a job, it's much more time efficient. You, instead of going out there and running for an hour and a half in the morning, you could bang out a 30-minute run with a lot of intensity and get pretty similar results to that hour and 30 easy run per se. So if you're someone who's tight on time, intensity has its place for you. Now, what are some drawbacks of more intense running? Well, there is a higher injury risk, right? Because you are running faster, there's always going to be a higher injury risk, and it's going to be harder to recover from these sessions because you are running faster, you are running harder, your heart rate's going to be higher on average, and it's easy to overdo, right? Very, very easy to overdo. So who would benefit most from more intensity? Well, I think if you already have a very, very solid aerobic base already, say you've been running for quite some time now, you've stacked a lot of high mileage weeks, and you're just looking for something new, I think intensity could be a very good avenue for you to explore. Also, if you are looking for some race-specific training, this is absolutely perfect. If you want to train for a 5K, you're going to want to prioritize your intensity. A lot of 200-meter reps, a lot of 400-meter reps, a lot of 800-meter reps, 1K repeats, mile repeats. That is going to be your bread and butter for your 5K training. And if you're looking to improve your 5K, you absolutely have to prioritize intensity. that's just how it goes. Now, also, another thing, if you're time limited, like I said, a lot of runners are busy people. We are students, we have jobs, we have responsibilities. We don't always have 2 hours of the day to set aside for a run. So if you're able to set aside 30 or 45 minutes, but just prioritize the intensity, you would be surprised at how similar the results would be to you doing, a 2-hour easy run. So with all that being said, that's my whole spiel on this whole debate here. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you can maybe take a thing or two from it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.